Can you see that? And you can hear me? Fantastic. All right, so we're off to the start. So thank you very much for joining me, everybody. I'm Shubhendu Kulshresht. I'm an ST4 in emergency medicine and also an innovation and improvement fellow at Oxford over the last year. I've graduated from Manipal in India and then been in the UK for the last 5 years doing emergency medicine. And I guess my career on the whole has had a little bit of a leadership streak to it in terms of trying to improve processes and a little bit of innovation along the way. So this fellowship for me was really interesting. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to talk about making your improvement projects stick. So I've seen some really, really good work in the posters there today. And hopefully through this presentation, you'll be able to work with me and imagine the work that you've been doing or something that's already under process or in the way that you can think through as we go along the slides. So we've been thinking about the what, and we all have demonstrated that we know how to do the what of quality improvement, but this is really about the how. So we're going to take some time to talk about how do you lead the change. And to start us off, we're going to be looking at John Kotter. So if you've heard about John Kotter, put Kotter down in the chat, and I think I can see that there. If you haven't, he's a very famous professor of leadership at Harvard Business School. He's done a lot of work on leading change, and he's published a lot, and he's got his famous 8 steps. So what did John Kotter actually say? So he says, to lead change, the leader has to take these following 8 steps to make sure that it sticks. And he says, start with creating a sense of urgency, then build a coalition, share and create a vision for change, remove obstacles so people can adopt the change, ultimately celebrate the wins so they like to do it, build on the change so that it's right for the organization, and ultimately anchor it into the organization's culture. So how do we use that? What we're going to do today is mapping the 8 steps against the QI journey, and for reference, we're going to be using the IHI model for improvement. So join me on this journey here now. We're going to start with the first step. He says, create a sense of urgency, and in Kotter's world, that meant that you can create a sense of urgency by talking about how good things would be if they were different and how bad things would be if they stay the same. In the world of QI or in the healthcare setting, hopefully we've all seen problems that need to be solved urgently. The issue often happens is that they're all urgent. All of the issues are urgent. And how is your urgent issue different from other people's urgent issues? So the question to ask is, are you clear about the problem you're actually trying to solve? This is what I would ask myself in this step 1. The sense of urgency may be obvious to you, but is everybody else around you on the same page about the real problem that you're trying to solve? So step 2, Kotter said, recruit a small team of people who are really passionate about the same change that you want to see in the world. Work with them. Your followers are sometimes more important than the leaders. Here's how we can use it in the healthcare QI world. The question I want you to ask is each member of your project clear on the problem that you're working on? And are they passionate to solve it? Sometimes you can have people passionate about the same topic, but a different problem. So make sure you've thought about that really well. Step 3, Kotter said, create a vision for change. And in Kotter's world, it meant articulating a really good vision for what life would look like if it was different. If your change was successfully implemented, what would happen? And explain why that's important, create a sense of purpose. And in the healthcare QI world, we need to ask similar questions. What does success actually look like, and how do you define it? Go create that vision with the team, with the coalition that you gathered earlier on. And a side note here is that we've still not talked about a solution or an innovation or an idea, which often sidetracks us into being able to start our QI projects, but this is all about defining the problem. I'm going to detour here and talk about this lovely diagram, which I think David earlier mentioned. If you know what this is, put it in the chat, put the words in there. This is Design Council's double diamond approach to problem solving. So you start on the left and you end on the right. And the diamond on the left shows a divergence in the discover phase. So you spread wide, cast your net wide to figure out what's actually going on, and then narrow down to define your problem, which lies in the center of that double diamond. And then on the right-hand side is the solution phase. So when you're looking to develop a solution to the problem, you cast your net wide again, to try and figure out all the possible solutions and narrow them down to refine and deliver your solution. In our QI world, this is really where the PDSA cycle happens that we're also familiar with. That's all about refining a solution. But there's more to the IHI model for improvement. There's things that lie on the left-hand side. This is, what are we trying to accomplish? How will we know that change is an improvement? And then ask the question of what change can we make that will result in the improvement that we're looking for? So here's another version of it. On the left-hand side, you can see very clearly it says, find the right problem to solve, and only then can you solve the problem the right way. Let's get back to Kotter's steps. So step 4 is communicating the vision. And in Kotter's world, he said, communicate the vision. And then he said, do it again. And then he says, do it way too much. There's another luminary in this field by the name of Patrick Lencioni, and he says you probably have to do this about 7 or 8 times before it sticks to anybody. And in our world, the questions to ask yourself are, who do you need to communicate this to? Who would be the best person to make that communication happen so that it's most impactful? And does everybody you meet on a daily basis, do they know about your vision? So I work in the emergency department, and sometimes I can work with somebody today and I don't see them again for the next 2 months. If I am not talking to everybody I see about the change I'm looking to make, about the vision that I have for the change, then how do I expect them to know it or even engage in it? Use more than just data to tell the story. And by that I mean use patient and staff experience. Use the emotions behind all of it, because we all are on the same boat. Step 5, remove obstacles.